What countermeasures protected soldiers from Vietnam chemical warfare? Imagine being in the thick jungle during the Vietnam War, surrounded by dense foliage and the threat of unseen chemical dangers. Soldiers had to find ways to stay safe from herbicides like Agent Orange that were sprayed from planes overhead. These chemicals were used to clear jungle cover and destroy food supplies, but they also posed serious health risks to the troops. So, what did soldiers do to protect themselves from these chemical agents? Let's explore the measures they used, even though they weren't perfect. First, soldiers were issued protective clothing, such as chemical-resistant suits, gloves, and gas masks. These suits were designed to block chemicals from touching the skin and to prevent inhalation of toxic fumes. Gas masks covered the face and had filters to trap harmful particles. But wearing this gear was tough in the hot, humid climate of Vietnam. Many soldiers found it uncomfortable and didn't wear it consistently, which increased their exposure risk. Decontamination was another key step. Soldiers used soap and water to wash off chemical residues from their skin and clothing after exposure. Special decontamination kits with absorbent materials and chemicals were also available to neutralize toxins. However, in the chaos of combat or in remote jungle areas, it was hard to carry out thorough decontamination quickly. Sometimes, soldiers couldn't wash off chemicals before moving on to their next mission. Military commanders also tried to reduce exposure by planning troop movements carefully. They aimed to avoid areas recently sprayed with herbicides. Reconnaissance teams would gather intelligence to identify contaminated zones, so soldiers could stay clear of them. Still, the widespread spraying made it nearly impossible to avoid all contaminated areas completely. The chemicals lingered in the environment for weeks or months, making safe zones hard to find. Medical monitoring was another safeguard. Medical teams checked soldiers regularly for symptoms like skin irritation, respiratory issues, or other signs of chemical exposure. Treatments were available for immediate effects, but understanding of long-term health impacts was limited at the time. Many veterans later experienced health problems linked to chemical exposure, showing that these measures had their limits. Training on chemical hazards was provided, but it often focused more on battlefield chemical weapons rather than herbicides like Agent Orange. This meant many soldiers didn't fully grasp the risks or how to protect themselves effectively. As a result, protective measures were often underused or misunderstood. In the end, these countermeasures were helpful but not foolproof. The nature of herbicide spraying was widespread and persistent, making complete protection impossible. Despite efforts to shield soldiers, many still faced health issues long after the war ended. These challenges highlight how difficult it was to defend troops against unconventional chemical threats during that complex conflict.